Hey guys, I have a very important update to share with everyone on Aurora. My brain has just made a bunch of connections, and I think I know the situation that is going on right now, and I want to share it in this video. So, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, and I would also appreciate it if you share this video to as many people as possible because I think it's important for people to understand what exactly is going on in Aurora. So, anyways, Silicon Valley. I'm watching this show called Silicon Valley. I recommend anybody who is trading in the stock market to watch this show. It's very informative. It made me connect a lot of things that were in my brain that were like holes that I didn't understand to be more interconnected. Now I kind of understand how a public company operates, and it makes a lot more sense to me because of the show, and I will share my thoughts on it. And by the way, I just want to bring this up since we have this whole situation and a lot of people are having a lot of problems. In theory, you can get away with not paying your rent for a long time. Yeah, it sucks for the landlord, but in this situation, no, a lot of people are suffering, and a lot of people are probably not paying their rent. And don't like to bring this up, but in theory, in certain states like California, like in Silicon Valley, where this one guy was renting out his apartment and to Airbnb, and then the tenant decided he was having problems, and he decided that he didn't want to pay for rent. I mean, he can't pay for rent. So the person who owns the condo has to hire a lawyer, spend money, and it will take a year to evict him out of the location he's living in. So he basically has a home for a whole year without paying the landlord, which is it's not ethical, but some people are doing it right now simply because they're suffering. Graham Stephan, if his tenants are struggling and they can't pay for rent, and don't pay for rent, the only thing he can do is basically hire a lawyer and evict them. So he could, this is the risk you take on as being a landlord. You may not get your dividend, and he has to hire expensive lawyers to get his tenants evicted. But again, Graham Stephan's not going to suffer at the end of the day, because you look at his YouTube channel, 1.68 million subscribers. He hasn't made. He's making a lot of money off YouTube. His rent money is probably nowhere to the amount of money he makes off YouTube. He has it set on YouTube. He has 1.68 million subscribers. That is insane. I kind of want to try to build a channel to 1.68 million subscribers too, but I don't really know how. I think the one advantage he has over me is he has a really good voice. I could show my face, I could set up a thing, but I don't look that good, and I don't have that good of a voice. So I'm kind of, I don't think I could ever grow to that kind of subscriber base unless I had like a big team behind me. But still, that's just the reality of it. But yeah, so there's for example, there was this article going up. Basically, this guy talks about his situation is bad, and then the landlord replied with a letter saying that he understands, but he's not a rich person and he needs to pay off his monthly expenses too. So, and he's having financial difficulties too. So, it's a tough world out there right now, but it doesn't matter. The market is still going up because the Fed is pumping trillions of dollars into the market. And if you want to be a short seller and try to bring down the market, that's that's your own personal feeling, but I honestly believe that there's going to be a disconnect between the economy and the stock market. The economy is going to fall, and the stock market is going to make it back to its 52-week high. Not 100% sure if it will, but that's what I think will happen by the end of summer. But eventually the market will crash again, because once Donald Trump is president, he might not care as much to keep the stock market up, and he might have it crash. But at the end of the day, I really don't know. I really don't know what's happening. This new America, so-called, from Greg Manarino, it makes it makes no sense to me. But whatever, it's just the way it is. Anyways, let's talk more about Aurora. I've already gone off subject quite a bit. I apologize. But anyways, Aurora announces CEO departures and layoff to $1 billion in write-downs. Okay, so what I think is Terry Boothe is not a good CEO. He's not a good CEO. So they probably so the board of directors probably talked it over, and they're like, we need a new CEO. We need somebody that can run this company better. It's the same similar situation in the Silicon Valley show. The guy that started up the company, he was the original CEO, and then the board of directors got together and voted him out of a CEO position, and he got really upset. But over time, I'm not gonna ruin the show for you, but he went back to the company. He decided to still work for the company regarding of his CEO position, but without him, the company would not exist, because he is the main coder of the company, I guess. So, what I think what happened was all the boards of directors got together and they were like saying that Terry Boothe is not doing a good enough job. He's not operating efficiently, and they need to bring in somebody who is experienced and knows what they're doing and will turn the company around. So, in theory, in the future, when Aurora gets a new CEO, the stock could pop quite a bit, depending on who comes in as a new CEO. And it also depends on if the stock market crashes, too. So, honestly, I think at these prices, it's not a bad buy. I wouldn't say it's a horrible buy, but, the higher it goes, the worse it becomes. I think I think that Aurora is, trying to survive. They're in survival mode right now. They're very heavily diluted. I would, as a shareholder or as a person that I still believe in Aurora. I think Aurora just needs time, but they are extremely diluted. I would like to see the share count go down a little bit. Like, I don't know, half would make me happy. 600 million shares would make me happy. If they can, cut the shares in half, it would make me happy. Sure, the short term, the stock market would sell off pretty rapidly, but the share count would be reduced dramatically. And that would make me actually more happy, because I don't evaluate a company from its split. There's too many shares in the company, and I would like to see that get reduced. So, but I don't know if they'll do a reverse split. If they do a reverse split in the future, current bag holders would get hurt, but ultimately it doesn't matter. It ultimately doesn't matter, because if you hold long enough, when the United States become legal, when Europe becomes legal, I think even in a reverse split situation, shareholders will still benefit from another boom in Aurora stock when Europe becomes legal. You basically are waiting. If you are a shareholder of Aurora or any MJ stocks right now, you are essentially waiting for Europe and United States to become fully legal, and hope that Aurora can export product from Canada to the United States, or from Canada to Europe without too much difficulty. And and at that point, Aurora stock could boom, and an evaluation of $12 billion is not something that is crazy, because if Aurora went back to 10 Canadian dollars, that would be almost a 10x at these prices. That it wouldn't be so crazy for Aurora to have a valuation of $12 billion, because they have the infrastructure to ship a lot of products. Because you have to think about it, Aurora is building the sun, they're building Nordic, and the Sky is fully operational. And once all those, if all those facilities were able to ship worldwide, Aurora would be in a fantastic position. Right now, the company's suffering because the Canadian market didn't live up to expectations, and the United States is not, and they're running into a lot of problems because of Terry Booth's mistakes. He made a lot of mistakes, but that's the reason why the board voted him off. Instead of Terry Boothe taking another position in the company, he decided to just step down and retire, but still have a board on the seat so he can vote. He can vote for certain things that come up, certain events that come up that the company is working on. Hopefully they're working on. But right now, I think Aurora is just focusing on surviving and at least retaining the current price stock if they can. If they come up with a bad earnings report, Aurora could continue to sell off further. So that is a risk. And another risk is Aurora could do a reverse split to reduce the amount of shares the company has. I'm not against that. I would like for them to reduce the shares count by half, from 1.2 billion shares to around 600 million shares. It would make me more happy. Yes, shareholders would get hurt, but ultimately it doesn't matter, because Aphria, in my opinion, as long as Aurora has a higher market cap than Aphria, which is a $1.18 billion, Aurora will be backstopped by Aphria's market cap. So Aurora won't drop below Aphria's market cap, in my opinion. But, if Aurora doesn't execute and they fail, I think, I would be extremely worried at Aurora's share price if Aurora dropped below Aphria, because at that point, you don't know how low Aurora will drop at that point. Terry Booth, the one biggest mistake that Terry Booth made was he didn't want to sell his company when the company was in a giant bubble. When Canopy got their $5 billion deal from Constellation Brand, Terry Booth could have sold the company out for $3 billion, $4 billion, but he didn't. He decided to hold on and continue to operate, controlling the company. And that was his biggest mistake, because now investors have rich people that inflated the stock to $13 or $14 have basically left Aurora right now. They will come back when Europe and the United States become legal. So this is why I think right now is an opportunity. It is risky from a standpoint where they could do a reverse split, or basically that's the biggest risk. They could do a reverse split. I don't think they will, but they could. That is definitely a risk, especially if Aurora stock doesn't rise and it actually falls further, because it takes a lot of money to move Aurora stock up $1. It's $1 billion to move Aurora stock up $1. So that's my stance on it. There's also a huge short position in Aurora, so that could be a potentially a reward situation. Now, this is the situation that's going on with Aurora. It's survival mode. I'm going to replace wake up and sleep, but essentially it's operate, survive, and wait. Because right now, Aurora is waiting for the world to open up. They're waiting for the United States to open up. They're waiting for Europe to open up. And they're just kind of in survival mode. So short term, Aurora, it could rally. There could be some kind of CEO. The CEO could get replaced. I mean, a new CEO can come in. And that could excite investors. And that could prop the stock up a couple bucks. A couple bucks is still quite a bit. It's $2 billion. $2 would be $2.4 billion because each dollar is $1.2 billion to move to the upside. So $2 is $2.4 billion, which is a lot of money. That's why I don't think normal retail investors can move this stock up. You are basically gambling. If you are buying Aurora, you are gambling that eventually rich people will come back into Aurora and pump the stock up again. The only way they will do that is if Europe and the United States become fully legal. Retail investors have no say in where Aurora stock goes. It's all about the billionaires and the mutual fund managers that have trillions of dollars. There is a lot of money out there, but it's controlled by probably 5% of the entire population of the world. So those 5% of the population are the ones that ultimately controls where Aurora stock price moves in the future. Those 5% went into Aurora back in the day. Why? Because Canopy created a giant bubble. So basically, what happened was Constellation brand went in, create the first bubble by investing $500 million into Canopy. And then the stock market cooled off. And then suddenly, Constellation brand invested another $5 billion into Canopy, creating a second bubble. But Aurora didn't move all the way up to $14 until there was a Coke rumor saying that Aurora was going to get bought out by Coke. It never came true. Aurora stock crashed after the legalization of MJ. And then the third time was when Nelson Peltz came in and propped the Aurora stock back to $13. The only way for Aurora to go back to $13, in my opinion, is if the United States become federally legal and that Aurora has an actual plan and strategy in place. That is the only way at the moment, in my opinion, before rich people come back into the market. Either Germany becomes fully legal or United States. So Aurora is definitely high risk, high reward, simply because they could go bankrupt. Maybe not, but they could. That is the scenario right now. And another risk is they could do a reverse split. So this is just my opinion. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this content. Give me a thumbs up. It helps my channel grow. Subscribe for future updates. And have a great day. Bye.